Hey, Pete Winarski here. Hope everything is amazing today. I am the founder and CEO of Win Enterprises and coming to you live through this Facebook group today. And we're going to talk about, how to make sure that you are the only logical choice, because face it, your customers or your clients, they have choices. You have competitors, whether you think of it that way or not. Some of you want to have your head in the sand and not think about that. But the reality is you do, and your customers, whoever they are, who are about to pay you money for your services, they have choices. So today is all about becoming the only logical choice, that you differentiate yourself tremendously from all of the other options. Just before we get there, remember to come on over to More Revenue, More Profit, the Facebook group, More Revenue, More Profit. That's facebook.com/groups/More Revenue, More Profit. And you can also look at the website, morerevenuemoreprofit.com. Focusing this conversation right now, today, in this moment, about how to make sure that you are 100% certain that your future buyers are looking at you, or your potential buyers. Let's think of it that way. Your potential buyers are thinking of you when they have the problem that they're trying to solve, or the aspiration that they're trying to reach, right? Because sometimes you're not just problem solving, but you're helping people get up to the next level with whatever it is that you're offering. So, for example, if you're a coach or a consultant, that's pretty easy to see, right? That's the world I'm in. We're advisors, we consult, we help, we give guidance, we mentor, and essentially we're helping you to crack your problem. What's getting in your way? Or we're helping you to go up to the next level. How do you achieve at that next level? And by the way, sometimes the level that you're thinking is down here. Like you're here, and then you're trying to, like, you set a goal and it's just this little bump. And what we see for potential is all the way up here. And so sometimes we're helping you to stretch your thinking and your mindset, around how do you get your business to grow? How do you solve problems for your customers and clients? But let's say that you're a plumber. What if you're a plumber? What kind of problems do you solve? Well, you solve either the problems of pipes getting jammed up, things getting plugged, toilets, sinks, showers, whatever. Or you might be on the more exciting, fun side of that, which is where sometimes you need a plumber to help with a renovation. So that's solving a problem or helping something cool get better, right? So how do you make sure that you are the only logical choice? Pretty interesting, right? Because homeowners who might hire a plumber have choices, right? And how do they find the right plumber? Typically it's like they go, oh man, it's plugged up and I need to unplug it. And so they Google and they say plumber in this neighborhood or this town, or they go to their next door neighbor or their workmate or somebody and they say, I got to call a plumber. You know anybody? So what if you could bypass that and somehow get ahead so that everyone in the same neighborhood all knows your name, so that when there's a problem, they call you, right? That's what we're talking about. And by the way, take the word plumber and substitute it for just about any other business. But that's the illustration I wanted to make. So in the example I just gave, obviously any trade person, electrician, plumber, contractor, et cetera, you could be thinking about the person who's going to do stonework in front of your house. I've got stonework that I've got in front of my house that the steps are a little bit wobbly. And I did a repair job, so I did that. But if I wanted to go and totally replace what's there, who am I going to pick? Right? So I could go to the phone book, go to a referral, ask my neighbors. But what if someone out there wanted me to think of them? What could they do for me? So that's really the name of the game here. So number one, how do you make sure that guys like me, consumers, how do you make sure your customers, your potential buyers end up thinking of you as the only person they would ever consider. Number one, you've got to always deliver outstanding, over and above value. Always value. In our world, it's called return on investment. But then there's always the value in the eyes of the customer. What's value to them, and how are you exceeding their expectations? How are you going way above and beyond what they might have considered for the money that they're paying you? Wow, did I get an amazing value? Right. So that's your job. Job number one. When I was at McKinsey Consulting, I had a partner, Rich Sykes. Rich, if you're listening, call out to you on this one. Always do great work, period. That was it. He would keep telling us that as a team, just guys, always do great work. Always do great work. And I carried that into Win Enterprises with the consulting work that we do. It's like, hey, team, we've got to make sure we're always doing great work. Everything else falls into place after that. But if you're not doing great work, then the rest is like fragile. So you always have to do great work. You always deliver value that exceeds over and above. Second thing to consider is collecting those success stories from the people that you did help, your clients and your customers that have worked with you before. So that's, in my world, a video testimonial, for example, right? In your world, it might also be a video testimonial, but could also be something that's graphic in nature, especially like if you're a stonework person, photos, man, right? Pictures of your work. If you're a bigger business, then, what problems did you solve, and create those case studies that describe either better performance in your product or your service, or a better experience that the person who made that decision ends up having, but something that shares from a third party perspective, right? Somebody else says, I made the decision. I went with this person, this company. These are the results that I got, and my life is better as a result, right? So there may be operational improvement results, financial improvement results, and maybe they saved a ton of money. Maybe you enabled them to grow their business. Maybe they had this horrible barrier that you got them to bust through. Maybe there was a giant problem that you helped them to solve. So all of those things are good, solid stories that your future customers want to hear. Which leads us to number 3, which is for you to reach out proactively with even more value and even more stories of other people's successes, right? Build more case studies, build more value, build. And so this lends itself ideally for a drip campaign. That's one of the marketing strategies that's out there. Somebody ends up in your email database because they requested some information that you offered. Usually it's an opt-in for a report or an opt-in for something that you send them, right? There's the exchange. I'm going to trade you my email in exchange for that thing of value that I really want to look at or read or watch or whatever, because it could be a video or a webinar or whatever. And then after that, you follow up with more value, more. What's the next thing? What's the next story you can share? What's the next tip you can provide? And that goes across every industry, right? That's not just for people like me in a consulting, advisor, mentor type role, right? This is, for you, the plumber. Like, here's the tips on being on keeping your drains from clogging up. Here are some simple things you can do. That's valuable to me. I'm interested in that because my bathroom sink, because I shave and I run the whiskers down there, it gets clogged up every now and then, and I got to go and clear it. That's not plumber worthy, but if there's a plumber telling me with some tips how to do that, I'm going to be thinking of that plumber first. I had a real estate agent who way back, I lived in the Memphis, Tennessee area years and years ago, that when we first moved in, it was the agent from the seller who sold us the house, not the agent we used as buyers. And that agent, every single month, we got something in the mail from them. Here's the newsletter. Here's what's going on in the market. Here's what's going on in your neighborhood. And then in addition to that, whenever there was a new listing, we got a postcard that said, hey, here's your chance to pick your neighbors, right? Let them know about the listing that I have at this address. Here's the particulars. It's listed. Here's the address. Here's the, the type of house. Here's the price that it's on the market for, all that. So absolutely, when it came time for us to sell our house, that's the person we called to get our house sold. Sold in one day, by the way. He performed at the end of all of that. So add value, keep your communication flowing, and then that helps you to become the logical choice. That person, that real estate agent, was the logical choice. No question. They were the only one communicating to us, the only one of everyone out there who's a real estate agent. I mean, look in your market. How many real estate agents are in your geography? There's dozens and dozens. And how do you pick the one? They all do the same basic function. How do you pick the one, right? Who's going to stand out? So if that's you, what are some things that you could be doing to put yourself over and above everyone else and become the only logical choice, right? I love that phraseology. I owe that to Joel Bauer. Joel Bauer taught that. And, one of the things, relative to making sure that you're getting case studies and testimonials on video, that's gold. Right. And that, I realized one of the things that was missing a few years back from our Win Enterprises business was exactly that, because even though we had, this long history of satisfied and very happy clients and customers, we didn't have them on video telling us. We had a few, but we didn't have dozens and dozens and dozens. So that's part of your job. Go collect them. So that was number 2. And then reaching out proactively, number 3. Number 4 is you've got to get invite your future buyers, your prospects, people that you want to become your customers and clients, to engage with your existing customers and clients. So how do you do that? So that could be that you invite them to a webinar. Of course, these days we're still somewhat virtual in the world, right? So, COVID safe, we do this in a COVID safe way. I'll describe sort of the out there in the world way in a second, but a COVID safe way could be as simple as that you're inviting people to something like this. I'm doing a Facebook Live right now. Of course, it's broadcasting also on YouTube and on our Pete Winiarski Facebook page. We'll copy this video and share it afterwards to LinkedIn. We go and create the audio into a podcast. But all of those are the same basic idea, where I invite you to watch this. I invite you to listen to this. I put it on social media where you can see it. And what if I interviewed somebody who was an actual client that had great results? In fact, I'm going to do some of that. I've got some ideas around that. And we'll do that right here. And we'll talk about the types of results and the types of impact and the types of experiences, and make it about them more than about me. Like, it's not about, hey, look, Win Enterprises, we're the best. Ha, 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 right? We're not going to chest thump this. It's going to be showcasing and highlighting the results that they're getting. And of course, you, not yet a client, are watching that and appreciating, wow, I want some of that too. So in a live setting, what if we could imagine a workshop or an event, and you do it in your local community? Maybe you do it at your town's public library, and you have, on Wednesday evening, you've got the space for 2 hours, and you have somewhat of an open house and presentation that you make. So back to the stonework guy, maybe it's like you do a public workshop on tips for designing your stone patio area, or your steps, or your whatever, right? How cool is that? And people who are interested show up. And what if you had one of your satisfied customers or clients there with you, and you're showing on the screen pictures of various things, and the homeowners there saying, yeah, here's what it looked like before, and then this person came in, and man, look at this now, look at how amazing it is, and here's what we do with it, and here's a picture of us out there enjoying it. So if you have other future buyers who are deciding about stonework, and doing a project, and you were that person who invited the interaction. My God, right? Think of how amazing and how easy it would be for that person to see you as the one they ought to consider calling. You're at least going to be asked questions about it, right? So getting your clientele, your prospects, your future buyers to interact with your existing and past customers and clients. Let them tell their story, and that will just turn into more credibility for you. Lastly, number 5, you've got to do all of this way before that person is ready to make a decision. Because if you have not added any value yet, you haven't done anything to differentiate yourself yet, and that person is like, okay, I guess I need a plumber. I guess I need a stonework person. I guess I need, my business is struggling. I need a business advisor or a consultant to help me with a project. You might not get the call, right? Because they may just simply go to the phone book, the proverbial phone book. Now, some of you are like, what's a phone book, right? But you go to Google, you do a Google search, and you go to the Google and you type in, I need a plumber in, in my case, we're in Simsbury, Connecticut, plumber in Simsbury, Connecticut. And I'm going to get a list of plumbers and I'm going to pick one. And I might look at, what the ratings on Google are and all that. But wouldn't it be better to just leapfrog over all of that and have already started to build a relationship by interacting with people over a period of time? Then that's really the time to do it, because now you've added value, and now I'm differentiating, and my value, my perceived value is going up, 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 up. And I haven't even been hired by that person yet. So you got to get out in front of the decision moment, right? Because if they're ready to decide and they're deciding right now, all right, crisis time, I got to find somebody, and you're not picked, you lost the opportunity, right? I mean, there's been times, I have to admit, in our consulting business, there have been times when somebody that I know personally will have a conversation. I'll catch up with them, like, hey, what's going on? How's it going? What's new? What have you been up to lately? You can have that sort of back and forth conversation, and they share, oh yeah, we hired this consultant to help us with this particular project. And you're like, oh my God, we do that work. Like, oh, I didn't know that. Had I known that, I would have called you. Man, and that's not anything about the other person. That's totally about, we missed the opportunity. How did we not let them know? And it's not about trying to go track your friends down and sell to your friends. It's not the point at all. But it is about communicating and making sure that the information is available out there to your network, to the world, so that they know, and they can self-select into the next layer of the circle and interact with you. And maybe it's interacting with a video that you have up, or a report that you have up on a website or on your social media, whatever. But each time they're like progressing kind of inside the circle, the next layer of the circle, the next layer of the circle. And so every time you're adding value, you're just demonstrating value, you're providing tips, and you're helping make their lives easier, and you're demonstrating with success stories from other people that they're coming closer and closer and closer to the nucleus of that circle where you are hanging out, ready to say, yeah, I'm happy to help you, or I'm happy to give you the quote, or I'm happy to come do the project for you, or whatever the case may be, right? So, thinking again about the plumber, the stonework person, the photographer for the wedding, or the photographer for the event, or the real estate agent, or the business consultant or small business advisor. All of these, they're all excellent candidates, right? Maybe you're a manufacturer of highly engineered products that have very specific uses out in the world from an industrial standpoint, maybe aerospace applications, who knows? You still have customers. You have people in those companies who buy your product, right? So this is all still 100% true. So if you want to be absolutely certain that they're going to pick you, these are the types of things that you can do, so that when they do decide, I got to get me one of those, you're the logical choice. Thanks for being here today, and we'll catch you again soon.